Hello and welcome to another episode of Footy Corner. I'm Sparks. Nice to see you here again. We got another couple of guests for you. You've seen before, but one Alfie has been on before, but it's been a little while. So welcome in. How are we doing?
Doing very well. Very happy to be back. Obviously, it's been a while since my first appearance, but I'm glad to be back on the channel.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. And Bez, welcome in. How are you, my friend?
Good, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me and to be in you both presence, as we say.
I mean, we're not legends. We're not just just.
Legends in the making, then I should say.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take that, but hopeful of it.
Unless you're certainly someone else, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, something like that.
So you know that. You know what I'm talking about.
What are we on about?
Nothing I'll say in video. Nothing.
Right, so end of season thoughts. Did you watch the game on Sunday? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I watched the game on Sunday, but at the end of the day, we kind of already knew that there was nothing really to play for. You could see that by the starting 11. Yes, it was good to get the win against the already relegated side, but at the end of the day, I'm just glad the season's over now. I'm just glad that we can just sit and relax. Obviously, we have to worry about transfers and all that malarkey, but we haven't got to worry about Premier League football for another 3 months. So I'm going to kick back, relax, and just chill.
Yeah. How about you, Bez? Are you just happy it's over, or what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Happy it's over. I didn't watch the game Saturday because I had family over and they were too busy watching the Chelsea game. My other side of the family, as you know. I was like, oh bloody hell. So I walked the room, literally I walked away from the room. Oh my God, Chelsea scored. I was like, who gives a fuck? Because you wanted to go somewhere else. I was like, who cares? Literally, I was just doing this. I walked in the room, I was like, what do you want me to do about it? You scored, and what?
Yes. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Tierney score, though, wasn't it? Apparently, he told Arteta that that's what he was going to do. I mean, I don't know how much you can take of that as gospel and how he actually knew he was going to score when. Don't know. It was a bit of a weird old ad hoc kind of defensive lineup, anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, we had, what was it, Kivior and White at centre back, and then towards the end of the game, we had Partey playing in the back four. I mean, he started at right back during the game, but we moved to centre back towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he started at right back, and then he went into midfield, and then kind of came back into centre back. So it was a bit weird. I don't quite know what they were doing with him, to be honest. But not that it really mattered. But it was a bit of an odd one, as far as I was concerned. And I'm not sure what you kind of thought of it.
I mean, the lineup, like I said, was to be expected considering it was the last game of the season and the fact that we didn't have anything to play for. But obviously we left the players like Saka, Ødegaard, and the like on the bench. Funnily enough, Ødegaard taking a shot on goal in the last game of the season. Where's that been all season? Like, we've been sat there waiting for his long shooting ability, which we know he's got, but he doesn't bring it out until the final game. So I'm expecting next season seeing more things like that from Ødegaard.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure he was fully fit, to be honest. I've still got an idea that he was probably rushed back, and he probably wasn't up to the actual games. But yeah, it's definitely, it hasn't been the worst, but by his standards, by his own standards, it's definitely not his greatest his greatest season at all, was it?
Not at all.
He's had better ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's been player of the season for the previous 2 seasons, and then we kind of get that. So it's, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can put too much on him, to be honest. But I know that a lot of people are really, really critical about him. And if he's like it all next season again, then I'll start to worry about it and I'll start to chastise it. But at the moment, it's kind of, yeah, he's just come back from injury, so everybody needs to get a little bit of slack. You know, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you want to cut him some slack, but then you've already given slack, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a hard kind of situation to be in, really. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen the video that Jorginho has put up. Have you seen?
Yeah, I saw that this morning. Obviously saying thank you to the fans for his time at Arsenal.
Yeah. So it was nice to see that. Obviously, that he's kind of respecting the fans and whatever. I'm not sure what Chelsea fans are going to think of that, but it does look like he was happier at Arsenal, more at Arsenal than he was at Chelsea, by all accounts. But you know, I can't speak to his state of mind, but it does appear like that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of tell in the way that he in his sort of mentality that he kind of felt happier at Arsenal, despite the fact that we didn't win anything in his time at the club. But to be fair, he's done amazing in his time at Arsenal, and I wish him all the best in his time back in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't want him in the first place. To be honest with you, I thought it was an underwhelming signing. But certainly for the 12 million quid or whatever it was we paid him, and he's not on ridiculous wages either. I think he's done a stellar job, to be honest. He's shown up every time he's been asked. He scored some decent penalties for us. He should have scored one more for the FA Cup this season, in my opinion. But there you go. That's a whole different story. Yeah, letting Odegaard taking that penalty and not giving it to Jorginho was a bit ridiculous, if you ask me. And maybe he'll have a second thought about that, but the next time around. But yeah, we shall see. Obviously, Tierney's off as well. Do you think Zinchenko is actually off, or do you think it's just that was a shop window thing? What do you think there?
I think as far as Zinchenko is concerned, I feel like yes, I think the first season that he was at the club, he did brilliantly, obviously in that left back role. Over recent times, we've seen him more in the midfield, which has been nice considering that's where he plays for his national team.
Yeah.
And he's a lot better in midfield as far as I'm concerned. He's not really that type of defensive fullback. I mean, obviously, we all know now in nowadays football that fullbacks are a lot more attacking than they used to be back in the day. But I feel like they've got to go hand in hand. You've got to be good in defense as well as you are in attack. And for me, I don't think Zinchenko's that type of defensive left back that we're looking for. So I feel like if we were to keep him and play him as a backup midfield option, I would be more than happy for him to stay. Just don't use him as a left back. I think you go out in the summer and you try and get an out and out left back. I mean, we had Tierney, but he's obviously off back to Celtic. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Do you think he could have played at centre back?
I feel like maybe he could have. But then again, I've never really seen him at centre back, to be perfectly honest. I don't.
Did you think that with Calafiori? Because obviously Calafiori came in and he looks the same sort of profile.
Yeah, I feel like with Calafiori, obviously, I feel like yes, he's naturally a centre back, and he was a centre back for Bologna, I think it was, and we're playing him at left back. Obviously, we've seen him attack a lot more this season. Obviously, getting a couple of goals, the one against City, the one against Wolves, good goals in important games. Obviously, the game against PSV in the Champions League. But when it comes to Calafiori playing at left back, he just seems a bit lost. Like he doesn't really know what he's doing. And I feel like if you was to play him in his natural position, I feel like you'd see a better version of Calafiori than you would at left back.
Yeah, we kind of saw that very briefly, didn't we, in the Newcastle game? When he came on and centre back, and he spent more time in the blooming penalty box than he did actually at centre back. It was a bit weird, but I thought that game was a bit weird anyway because I thought Newcastle needed to win that game. and they just didn't really seem to try. But yeah, I just it was just a thought that kind of sprung into my head because obviously Tini can do that role, Calafiori can do that role. Maybe Zinchenko could have done that role a little bit more. But yeah. Guys, if you're in here, please make sure you're subscribing and liking, and any comments you got in the chat, please make sure to put them in there, and we'll respond to basically every message that's in there. Ashley said, "Do you think that we will get Martin Zubimendi?"
Well, I was under the impression that the deal was already done and we were waiting until the end of the season for him to officially be announced. I mean, we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano that deal was done. But ever since that post, we haven't heard anything since. So it's kind of difficult to gauge whether he's actually joining the club or not. But I think he'd be a good signing. I think he'd be a good replacement for Jorginho. If it is done, I guess we'll just have to wait until the announcement. If not, go out and get it done, as far as I'm concerned. I think at this point we need to be ruthless.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need to be active, don't we? And it's a case of I think it's just waiting for the window to actually physically open because they've literally got a lump money onto the lap of La Liga. So I think that's all it is. So I'm pretty sure it's there or thereabouts. It's as sure as transfers can be because you kind of can't be 100% sure until they're wearing the shirt. Barring any kind of twists in the tail along the way, I don't think that there's anything anything that stops him coming in. To be honest.
Yeah, I think he'll be a good addition to the midfield as well. I think he's a very good profile of player. Kind of gives you everything that you need in midfield. Obviously, I don't really watch La Liga much in my off time, but from what I've seen of him in the Spain team, he's a very, very quality midfielder. And
the thing is, as well, the thing you know where Partey kind of slows things down because he's got to bring it down and it's got to be leveled onto his right foot and it's got to be this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Subimendi doesn't really need to do that because he's got a lower center of gravity and stuff, and he's got 2 feet. He doesn't need so much time bringing it in control. He's not your boisterous kind of defensive mid, but then neither was Jorginho really. He's more of a controller. So I wonder if you're going to change to like a double pivot when he actually comes in. That'd be interesting to see.
Have Rice and Zubimendi as the double pivot.
Yeah, so
that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, so like a 4-2-3-1, and basically Rice and Zubimendi side by side, and obviously the left back and the right back kind of tuck in anyway, don't they?
Yeah,
and make it an almost 4-man midfield anyway, and then they're almost the wingers. But yeah, Hilsey Laguna says, welcome in, nice to see you, my friend. If Calafiori stays fit next season, we have a star player. What's your response to that, Bez?
I do pretty much agree with everything he's saying because he's got the capacity to Calafiori's got the capacity to strive for bigger things. Sometimes he gets big caught napping in the defense. I hate to criticize him because I'm a big fan of his from day one. There's times you think he's amazing, 8, 9 out of 10, but that little percentage he loses a bit of track, like when he tries to backtrack, like when he goes back in. I think, in my opinion, he needs to learn how Timber does it. He knows when to attack, he knows when to defend, he knows when to track back, he knows when to shield the defense together. Keep the shape, don't lose that momentum when you're like counter-attacking or kind of coming back from another offensive trap of the other team. I certainly think Calafiori needs to stop being this, poster boy. I hate to use this word for him, but he needs to stop being this pretty boy, in my opinion. There's other things to worry about in football. Just let football do talk in the moment. Just like it reminds you a bit like Freddie Ljungberg in the 2000s when we saw him in those adverts everywhere, just parading everywhere. I think, man, your first season, you're here to make an impression how you play football, not about your current look, shall we say. I'm not hating on him, but I just feel like you need to take a little step back.
I mean, I guess he would say that he's just reacting to what the sponsorships deals are saying for him to do. I wouldn't have thought that he has much choice over, whether he does an underwear ad for Adidas when they're his sponsor, and he's a bit of a pretty boy. So I don't expect that that he probably has much choice in the matter. He's paid for a sponsorship deal, and he kind of does what he's told now.
I guess, but I mean, I know you got Lewis Hamilton in other sports. I know Beckham still does it. I'm just saying Freddie Lundberg did it when he did it in his time. But I think there's sometimes ways you can just say sometimes yourself, don't get too much sidetracked, because you can see already his mind does get a bit like kind of distracted by this thing. You see, he's not like one of the players you just want to say like, oh, he's playing badly. No, he just needs to just keep his focus in one thing, which means play your football, do your thing. But at the same time, I just feel like he needs maybe a little bit of a push to say, look, just do your football for the moment and let's get to the other side another day, in my opinion.
Do you agree with that, Alfie?
I think obviously fair play to him for getting his sponsorship deal with Adidas and doing all the modelling and that. But I feel like for a player of Calafiori's quality, and there's no denying that he has got quality, I think what he needs to do is have both of them go hand in hand, have that charisma both on and off the pitch. So as long as he's like not completely focused on one rather than both, I think he should be fine. But then again, we'll have to wait until next season to see what happens.
Do you think he's a bit of a maverick, though? Do you think it's something we've missed for a good period of time now? I mean, we had Sanchez, who was I consider like a maverick. He didn't really do what he was necessarily supposed to do. He did what he was supposed to do, but he changed how he did it.
Yeah.
So it's basically it was a bit off the wall, and it offered a little bit of a different dimension because nobody knew what he was going to do.
I think that's for the past few years. I think we've definitely lacked a lot of those players, those maverick type of players that can just change a game just like that. And I feel like with Calafiori, you have got that in the sense where he can be good defensively, but he's also good at getting forward as well. I mean, we've all seen the goal against Man City. I was stunned when that ball hit the back of the net. But I think nowadays, yes, I mean, it's all well and good having a team that's united and always happy and always striving for success. But I feel like you need to have those players that are going to just change a game with just one little movement.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, and it's just I think it's just quite nice to be surprised every now and then. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit, it gets your bums off seats. Not that we sit down anymore, but it doesn't really seem to happen anymore. But yeah, and I prefer it that way, to be honest with you. But I just think it's quite nice just to not expect all the time and basically just have something else out there that's that you didn't exactly expect. It's like taking a bit of the monotony out of it and a bit of the boredom out of it, if you like. Not it's boring, but if play is boring, obviously it just gets you off your seat, and it saves G'ing up the crowd because he's done it for you, basically. So yeah, I think that's quite nice for him, to be honest. But I think the centre back option is his backup. Saliba is he's the backup for Gabriel anyway. But do you actually see that the defenders would get rotated more ad hoc next season, so it won't actually be Gabriel and Saliba, or do you think that that's just set in stone and that's what it'll be?
I mean, personally, I think obviously there's no denying that the quality that you get from Gabriel and Saliba as a centre back pair. There's no denying that whatsoever. But I feel like every now and again it would be nice to change up the defence because you kind of realised it now with the way. I mean, we obviously throughout this season we've looked to score from set pieces, but then it got towards like January, February, and the opposition had kind of figured that out already. So if you are consistently rotating the defence, I'm not saying rotate it every single game, but every now and again, just maybe give Gabriel or Saliba a bit of rest, bring Calafiori in, and just give something different from set pieces and defensively.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Bez?
There's a lot to consider because when you think about it, throughout the season, we made so much rotation at the back as well. People just, I know someone I was talking to the other day, he said that we changed so much in the midfield, yet so much in the attack. I'm thinking, but defensive unit as well has been a bit like disturbed, shall we say the word? It's been a bit disrupted, excuse me. It's been a bit like there was times of this season, we felt like start of the season, yes, injuries were the difficult problem. Yes, suspension was the problem. But my opinion was, so excuse me to use the word my opinion. I don't mean to use this in a bad way. Basically, felt at times of best of times, we got told like, oh, Arsenal's changing all this rotation and it's going to benefit us. In the long run, actually, it did benefit us. It did help big time. Because when you remember, I was the one that's very critical of even Arteta when I said, why is he starting Partey at right back? It kind of made sense because he's trying to protect him from being overplayed in the big game. Because the way our season started was a bit, frantic, shall we say. I felt at times best something felt good going to the new season of this season, which is still this season. The way the middle kind of petered out was a bit, I felt a bit, sulky, moody, probably you saw me as a mid-season. I was not really in a good place.
Yeah, but I mean,
But come now, I can see why.
that's kind of the life of an Arsenal fan, isn't it, at the moment? Because obviously we're just not getting to the point where we're actually winning stuff. But it's yeah, a lot's going to be riding on this transfer window, isn't it? Because obviously it's kind of getting to the point where it's kind of make or break, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ruthless, sorry, Alfie. Ruthless we have to be, also as well assertive we have to be. And I think Arteta needs to start putting his own stamp of authority, say to the director of football now, I can't find his name, I want this guy, but help me push it over the line, Because there's always ifs and buts with our club and our fan base, of course. I'm not here to talk about fan base at this minute, but our club needs to see the real big picture, say to themselves, if we need this player, we'll make sure this player will fit his criteria, that we want him. We want to sign for that, for our club. We want to put pen to paper. Here and now, we want to do it. Because otherwise, it seems even now, I see Zubimendi's deal, someone saying that, oh, he's waiting Real Madrid to, if they open a midfield option for him. I feel like, man, if you hear these sort of sub-rumors or sort of gossip as it is now, with the media out there, just as a big club as we are now, make your presence felt, show your deck of cards and tell the player, look, we will fit your criteria, but bear in mind we'll offer something maybe better. On paper we do, but hopefully we have maybe learned our lessons from last 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I really hope that's the case because we haven't replaced a striker in a good 2 years now, but actually longer than that.
Too long.
But
it's too long.
Yeah,
too long.
It's just ridiculous. But obviously that we've got we've got irons in the fire supposedly. So let's go on to that. So we're obviously linked to Gyokores and Sesko again. We're still kind of here having the same conversation. Where are you at the moment? Do you want either of those two, or do you want somebody else? Because we've been linked to Alvarez as well now. I don't know if that's for the winger position or if that's an actual striker position. Exactly what position that's for. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think for me, I've always been of the mind that out of either out of Sesko or Gyokores, I've always preferred the latter. And that's nothing against Sesko as a player. I still think he's a very, very good player. I just don't think his style of play would really suit our system. I mean, we look a lot at crosses. We look to put crosses into the box, and we've been crying out for a target man because let's face it. I mean, Havertz isn't a target man. He's not even a striker. So I think Gyokores, not only that, and his presence in the box. I think the fact that he's already played English football, obviously spent a lot of time at Coventry. I think with him, it's more of a sure thing rather than with Sesko coming in. You'd have to wait at least a year for him to acclimatise to the English game. Whereas with Gyokores, you kind of got like a player who understands the English game and can kind of hit the ground running. So for me, I think out of those two, I'd probably prefer Gyokores. But we know, obviously, Berta and Arteta are kind of, I don't want to say butting heads, but they're kind of having disagreements at the moment.
I don't think they are. I don't think they are at all, to be honest. I think Berta has a different way of doing things, which is a proper director of football, where he's basically putting seeds out all over the place, and he's getting alternatives. So where Edu was working on one deal, and then we'd wrap that deal up, and that'd be it. We can work on the next deal. I think Berta's just keeping his options open. To be honest with you, I don't think he's butting heads at all. I think that's a bit of a myth. That's the case.
I wouldn't necessarily say they would. I wouldn't necessarily say they were like having a disagreement. I just think their ideal targets. I think their ideal target is obviously completely different. Obviously, you've got Berta that wants Gyokores, and then you've got Arteta that wants Sesko. I feel like now, whereas when we had Edu, you kind of understood why Arteta kind of had the final say in terms of what players came through the door. Whereas with Berta now, you've got someone who knows exactly what he's doing as a director of football. I think now Arteta can, whether he will or not, that's to be decided. But I feel like now he should be able to let go of the reins a bit and kind of let Berta decide, give the final say on who comes into the door, whereas Arteta can just focus on what happens on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree with that, Bez?
The chemistry between the director of football and Arsenal right now seems to be solid. I want to see him more next to Arteta and I'll see what's going on. As Alf is saying, hopefully it's nothing like too serious to begin with, like nothing too strict, nothing too crazy. But I'm just hoping they have a good, transparent understanding that clearly if Arteta wants this guy and Berta will do what he can to get him, would be great. And also as well, I want to see a level playing field, which means if able, go for him. But at the same time don't drag it so much to the end of the transfer window and we're left with nothing without me ranting. Excuse me, I don't want to rant tonight because it's not fair if I'm here to
I mean, the window hasn't even officially opened yet, has it? So
exactly. So what I'm saying, I don't want to drag on like a goose chase, like a wild goose chase. That's what I don't want. Like I said that to you before a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, I kind of will add that obviously it's not usual that we're linked to players during the season. That I think it's just started early for us, and we're kind of being reeled into the whole problem that the window's closing and whatever. It hasn't even opened, so it's kind of there's contact and there's discussions and decisions obviously that need to be going on, and I don't know if I like actually hearing about every transfer, because it's like we're juggling it as well now in our heads of whatever, but it gives us something to talk about as well. So at the end of the day, we're in a kind of a bit of a rock and a hard place, aren't we? It's just like, well, we want to know, but we just want to know who's walking through the door and what name you're putting on the back of your shirt at the end of the day, didn't you?
Pretty much, you summed it correctly now.
Yeah. But so yeah. So we were linked with Rodrygo, but there's been kind of talks of dampening that down since Alonso obviously went into Real Madrid, basically saying that he still wants him. Do you think Rodrygo is the kind of signing that we need to be going for? Would you go for him? And if it wasn't him, who would you get in that position, in that left wing position, obviously?
I think obviously Rodrygo, obviously as we know, he'll usually play off the right hand side for Real Madrid. Obviously, he
He's been
can play
playing
off
off the right outer position. That's why he's upset.
yeah. Obviously, I don't think there's any chance that he's going to get onto that left hand side when you've got a player like Vinny on that
Yeah.
side of the pitch. But
And Mbappe.
exactly. But with Rodrygo, obviously, it looks as if that Alonso wants to use him in his plans. But I definitely wouldn't say no to a player of Rodrygo's quality. I feel like he would give us a bit more going forward on that left hand side because you've noticed across the season that a lot of our attacks usually start down that right hand side. We're heavy right hand side reliant on a lot of our attacks. So if you've got a player like Rodrygo to come into the team, it not only gives you something different off the left, but it also gives Martinelli a kick up the backside, as if to say, I need to step up here, otherwise I'm going to lose
Do you
my
think
spot.
he already has?
I feel like I don't know whether like he's got complacent is the right word. I just feel like he has got to a point where like he doesn't really feel like he can be dropped. And that's why you kind of see that Martinelli's performances have dipped over the past couple of seasons. Yes, he hasn't had the link up in the midfield like he did with Xhaka, but to me, it just feels like if you get someone else in, it'll give Martinelli the kick up the arse he needs to not only perform and get back to the Martinelli that we all know, but also put him under a little bit of pressure to go out and perform week in, week out so he doesn't lose his spot.
Yeah, I mean, he has been asked to do a lot defensively as well in his defence. So, obviously there's that. And he doesn't play with a traditional left back per se. He's playing with a left back that's inverting. And it's probably the same with even when Saka came back. Obviously, you've got Timber in there. He's inverting. And we notice the difference when White comes back and actually starts his overlapping runs, creating the triangles, doing whatever, and he breaks the line from the right hand side more times than not because they create that triangle. He does the overlap, and it's quite a simple cutback, isn't it? But I guess Martinelli suffers from that a little bit because he doesn't actually get support on that side. All the sports almost all the time goes on the other side or in the middle. So do you think that's...
Sorry if I interrupted you, Karen.
No, go on.
I'm saying the only reason why I want to say I totally agree with you both. Like Martinelli, I'm a big fan of his as well, Saka, but Martinelli needs to sort of back up, needs a little kick up the backside. As much as I'm a fan of his, I'll still love him, I'll still criticize him, but he needs backup. He needs some sort of challenge. At the same time, he needs, as you say yourself, he needs a good left back who understands that role the way Ben White does it. The way Ben White does it for Saka, and the way he links up. We saw bit flashes on Sunday. He showed that clearly the left hand side is clearly almost frozen out. It's like a ghost in the room. There's nothing there. Like sometimes, nothing in Martinelli, but he needs some sort of a bit of like a wingman who just backs him up, or let's say right hand man who just is there for him. Like we know there's games out there. People, God forbid, and I'll say touch wood to this. There's people out there when they go clattering to Saka for a game. There's nothing to do. I saw some nasty fouls over the season in some games that I think people going for Saka, and we know why. But when Ben White walks in, and I'm going to say this, the way Shithouser is one of the best out there, alongside Jamie Vardy. And sometimes we need players like Ben White in the team. Ballsy, doesn't give a shit. Powerhouse. And for me, I just feel like as well, if we do keep Zinchenko, provided where we go next with our, future hopefully, where we go now and there's just into the window, I would just hope we see, if we keep Zinchenko, keep him in midfield now. He doesn't just stay in that defensive unit. For me, I don't see him as a defensive player at all. Come to that defense, that four-man defense. In my view, I think he'd be put forward more. Let the players who do their own line, left side, right side. We know what we do best. Also, our midfield, I think we need to start creating more, as you guys said at the beginning. They need to be more at ease now to try try and shoot from distance. I don't know why we've stopped shooting from distance over this time. It just bemuses me how. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's because we're normally going to get up against 9 men in the box, and they kind of perceive it. Well, it's going to rebound off somebody, and then just they're going to break out and counter attackers. I guess that's the underlying factor of it. But yeah, you sometimes just have to take the risk, don't you? It's just a case where you have to take that risk. But there are some teams for me that seem to be able to retain possession no matter what they do, and it like rebounds off 4 players, comes back to their feet, and whatever, they can counter attack with it. And it never seems to work for us. It seems to always seems to drop to an opponent. It is baffling to me that you don't get that kind of look on the ball. But I think we need to be a little bit more adventurous in the midfield.
Totally agree with you. There's no question about it. No question at all.
Yeah, I mean, even the wingers, maybe they just don't come back quite so much.
Can I just say as well, I only watched the highlights on Sunday, because I said I only watched the Monaco race, and I'll watch the football highlights later in the day, because I was literally had a frantic Sunday. What I realized, when you have Martinelli up front, when he had the sale of the moment, he actually looked really solid. He looks like the real deal, that he can actually draft in the last segment of the game.
But again,
experiment.
But he was kind of ghosting as well behind the fullback. So it was kind of doing the white job without doing the triangle sort of thing. So it was kind of it was kind of breaking through there, and he was getting some joy out of it. And I like the little cutbacks that he was doing. So instead of actually just taking a sidestep or going across 2 paces or something like that, and then putting a cross in, he was kind of cutting back inside and then putting it on his right foot and then trying to cross it. And I just thought it looked a bit different, where every single time he'd do it before, it'd be the same left-footed cross in that didn't really go anywhere, went too near the keeper or too near the corner flag, really.
You hit the nail on the head there. You hit the nail on the head completely. I totally agree.
I just thought it offered a bit more adaptation, and obviously they've got a little bit more freedom to come forward. But I think Zinchenko offered a bit to that as well, didn't he? Because he was kind of marauding in those kind of positions, and he was that little bit quicker on the ball, and just offered I don't know, a bit of variety in there.
I think you need a bit of variety every now and again, because nowadays, I think there's a lot of players that they play to a system, and that's understandable. That's the way that football's going as it looks. But I think if you have that variety, you always have the opportunity to switch things up. So if your original plan isn't working, you've got something else that you can rely on. So I'm all for variety at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we definitely need a bit more creativity as well. I think that whether it just be on the wing or whether it actually needs to be in
Sports, may I add as well, when Saka came into the game against Fulham, because I was there for the Fulham game, the way he made all that hard work so well as well, Martinelli, to make that cross happen. That's so underrated from his standards, from him, to prove to us as football fans, of us football club, sorry, it showed that he can have a great day, having that, unexpected moment. There's times as well, I do love him the way he is, but he needs to be more like, if you keep going left and right and center every time, well, 30% of the time, do something different, improvise even, or freestyle like a rapper, make yourself known. The way Saka does it, as you know, he's called Starboy for a reason. There's nothing against Martinelli. I love to say I have nothing against bad about Martinelli, but he needs to learn a bit more from Saka, a bit from his so-called compatriots like Vinicius as well. But it seems that even his national team even doesn't even care about him. It's like, man, he's a young lad still. He needs a bit of a talking to. He needs a bit of like nurturing, shall we say. We got our manager, for example, is a good team. Sorry, a management type manager, from what I see anyway. But times, but me being, as you know, I do for the Brazil national team. I saw that against Argentina. The team completely froze him out. Well, I don't think I saw Martinelli in the game. I saw Gabriel, yes, the defender. But sadly, I thought, well, where's my boy Martinelli at? Why is he not playing against, well, even 10 minutes even? Literally, I'm like shaking my head.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some strange moments of kind of team selections, which obviously, that's all on the manager. I think that there's varying reasons why we're nowhere. Well, not nowhere. Second is still good. It's just not an achievement as such. You don't come out with a trophy for it, as is all my point is really. But we kind of need something that gives us that edge, just to kind of get over the line in tournaments and get some trophies in the cabinet, don't we?
Yeah.
And keep the haters quiet. Sorry, but
I mean, did you? I don't know if you've seen that the. Did you see the tweet I put out with some of the comments in the Arsenal comment of the Liverpool tragedy?
Yeah.
So the Arsenal account basically put out thoughts are with them, blah blah, this, that, and the other. And the haters were in that, just basically going, "Oh, you're trying to be victims, you're trying to do this, you do it," and I'm like, "What are you doing? This kind of banter era thing." I mean, I'm nearly 50. It's just boring. It is just boring, and the thing is, everybody goes, "Well, win something and it'll stop." No, it won't. You'll just move a goalpost. Even if we did a quadruple next season, there'd be something wrong with it. Honestly, it doesn't matter what they said. There will be something wrong with it. It just baffles me, and it's all right. Yeah. Oh yeah, a bit of banter. Oh, it's just banter. That's not banter. It's just dead. They just showed a bit of class to say, I hope you're all right, this, that, and the other. Just being human.
Yeah.
And they got ridiculed for it. And you're just like, it's just not funny. You might think it's funny. It's not. It's just dead. So
it's the same. Isn't it the same as what we had the 20th anniversary against when you play United Liverpool as well? I mean, I'm not here to attack United fans, but the way they acted was very bad. It's like you're making fun of something really bad, and then what Liverpool fans do, they turn around the air disaster in Munich in, is it 57? I think even that's
well. The
childish.
thing is, all of that was banned. All of that kind of mimicking and whatever is banned, and rightly so. It shouldn't be there. You don't know who you stood next to when you're at the football match.
But Sparks, as you know me, I'm a 36-year-old man. I live 25 years. I know what banter is. I know what is.
But these
Scottish
people
banter.
don't.
I know what Irish sense of humor is.
These people don't know what it is. It's just like.
Yeah, I definitely think.
Can I just say this as well? Sorry if I interrupt you both. Even if I joke with something today, even it will be my work, as Sparks, even in daily life, I'll joke with something, it's a bad thing. But if they make fun of something really serious, apparently that's a joke in their eyes. I mean, no. There's a joke, there's a banter, there's laughter. We can't make something some people's dying out there. It's not fun anymore,
There's definitely a time and a place to take the
kid
piss.
or not.
There's a time and a place to take the piss, and it wasn't.
That was literally my comment.
Exactly.
I said, there's a time and a place for banter, and if this is your idea of banter, then just give it up, because it's just not right. It's just not banter at all. But
it's horrible. Honestly, it's horrible in this day and age to see this shit as well.
But yeah, I see that. I mean, I've seen people quite a lot today, basically defending the Chelsea celebrations for getting top 4. Right. And I remember when we got to top 4, and it was like, oh, it's not a trophy. Why are you celebrating like it's a trophy? and it's just like, what? So basically, the rules change. Whoever's involved, the rules change.
Yeah, one rule for us and one rule for the rest of them.
Yeah, it just seemed like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to get, victim mentality and all that lot, but it just seemed like that, and just like, oh yeah, you've got Chelsea fans out there basically going, oh, he's spent 750 million quid. Well, A, it's not that much anyway, and B, you spent $1 billion, mate. So, oh yeah, but we're in a rebuild. We had to we had to get rid of all our players. No, you chose to. You chose to get rid of all your players to get to a wage structure. That's different than having to do it. They literally got rid of everybody because they were on 300 grand a week and whatever, which Man United should do, by the way.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ever will.
I don't even think they know where to start. I mean, I think it's a case for Man United. They don't really know who to get rid of. I mean, we as fans can see, like, fair enough, we're not Man United fans, but we can see them week in, week out on like Match of the Day or whatever you're watching. We can see the players that they need to get rid of. We can see that the players in that squad aren't good enough to be wearing a Man United shirt, yet they're still getting games. I think there's a lot of players that need to go out.
Quick question on that. Would you have got rid of McTominay?
No.
Every time I saw him, he basically
brilliant.
wore that club on his sleeve, and
He had the presence. Sorry, but he had the presence by him. Sorry if I stop you both. He had the presence by him. He had the passion by him. He was driven. Well, mind that's 3 important things that you need in football players today. No, he played for the badge. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I thought he did that every game. He may not have the full quality every time, but
exactly.
But he carried the team. He had ambition.
What a goal for Napoli! Sorry, what a goal for Napoli!
Brilliant goal, brilliant finish.
I'm not just saying this as a reflex to him winning the league in Napoli, but
that's good there too. Sorry,
I saw him once. I saw him once, and he literally he headed a goal. He'd landed on the back of his head. His head kind of buckled forwards, kind of looked like he cricked his neck the wrong way to the way your spine should go, if you like.
Mm.
He got up and he legged it to the edge of his box, ready for the next play, and I'm like, no drama, no nothing, just literally just scored a goal, happy days, off. And you're like, Man United got rid of that. What? That would do wonders in their team right now.
Yeah, I definitely think.
Same with Billy.
Go on, Bez.
No, it's just about same as Billy Gilmore as well. I don't know how Chelsea got rid of him, and then he goes to Brighton, and Brighton get rid of him. I was like, what's going on with these guys?
A bit of a sporadic character is Billy Gilmore. Not quite the same quality.
Yeah, I hear you. Forgive me, Alf, if I.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Yeah. I think when it comes to McTominay, I think fair enough. Like obviously, United have got a different manager. Obviously, he was sold under Ten Hag. God knows why, because he dug him out of a lot of problems. I mean, you can think back to last season, they were 1-0 down against Brentford. McTominay comes on and scores 2. Like, there's not really many players that can come on and change a game like that. And I've always been, since the Europa League final, I was of the mind that if United had McTominay in that midfield instead of Casemiro, I feel like the game looks a lot different. That's not me discrediting Casemiro whatsoever. He's a fantastic player, has had a brilliant career, but he's done. Like he's finished as a player now.
Yeah, I think that he's kind of gone into the position where Saka was, where positionally he's really good. If he's he reads the game really well. He gets his position and he commands the space.
Mm.
But if he has to transition, forget it. He just can't do it. And there's a big gaping hole between the defense and the attack. It's just a big hole because he just can't deal with it. So I mean, if it's a slow, methodic kind of getting forwards, then that's fine. But if it's fluid, he's nowhere to be seen. He just can't do it. And McTominay absolutely did that all the time for me.
Definitely would be a brilliant player in Man United's midfield now, digging them out of holes consistently.
Yeah, especially when you see what they've got now.
Exactly.
And the lack of kind of any creativity, really. Yes, but
I mean, I watched that Europa League final live. I did a watch along for that game, and it was painful to watch. Like, not only
I think I tuned in for that for about half an hour, and I was like,
all
yeah, I
Spurs
can't.
winning a trophy, it just doesn't feel real. Like, I've got numb to it. I even physically had to apologise to my little sister because she spent 17 years of her life about seeing Spurs win a trophy. I thought she was going to do that for the rest of her life. I had to apologise. I had to say sorry.
Oh, bless you, man.
So your sister's a Spurs fan?
No, she's an Arsenal fan. I said I had the last time Spurs won a trophy before the Europa League final, obviously the League Cup final in 2008. My sister was 3 weeks old. She turned 17 in February.
Oh, bless.
Right,
like
so she's never had the pain.
Exactly. I'm sat there. I didn't cry or anything, but I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, we're never going to be at the end of this now.
Alfie, guess what? I've got a cousin of mine. I've got a cousin who was a Chelsea fan, but he's okay. But he's born the same time as your sister. Well, the same year as Wolf, and the same month after.
My uncle's a Spurs fan as well, so he was in Bilbao. I was waiting for the phone call to come through from him, getting a shitload off of him, but thankfully that phone call didn't come.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, they kind of deserve it. You know, it was a poor competition at the end of the day, but if we were in that competition, I'd want to win it, and they did that, and happy days. They still say
it's right.
Hey, and tomorrow as well, guys. Don't forget, tomorrow's gonna be fun for Chelsea. I hope.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think if Chelsea win the Conference League, fair enough, they should win it regardless. I feel like sat there at the start of the season that Chelsea should just walk this competition, and they kind of have. But in a way, it's going to be even more painful for us because you've got Chelsea winning the Conference League, you've got Tottenham ending their 17-year trophy drought, you've got Palace who've won an FA Cup, you've got Charlton who've been promoted to the Championship. It's like all these London clubs around us are winning trophies, and we're sat here with fuck all. It hurts.
Yeah.
And our local teams as well. Our local teams.
Yeah, exactly. But well, in fairness, I was happy for Palace. To be honest,
Same.
I was more happy for Palace than anything else because it gives the fans something back, and the club went into administration, I think, twice. So it nearly didn't exist at all. So I don't despise that from a Palace point of view. I don't despise any of them, to be honest. I think it's always nice to have new winners, if you like. You know, I'm sure that you have a certain sections of Palace fan base, or we'll catch you up now, or whatever. But you never will. I
definitely agree with like there being a new winner on the name of the trophy. Obviously, first new winner since Leicester back in 2021. I mean, it kind of fair enough. We had that run in 2014, 2015 where we won the FA Cup back to back, and that was good to watch. But every now and again, it's nice to see a team outside the so-called Big Six win the trophy. It's what football's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. But
can I bring this up as well? I saw the video as well. How now apparently there's a lip reader who discovered what Guardiola said to Dean.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
much, in my opinion.
Oh, I haven't seen this one.
I'll share it if I share. But literally, he said to him, "It's not fair. You left the box. I mean, man, stop being a baby. Come on, I love you, man, but stop this." He basically, I'll try and find this spot, but he literally told me it's not fair how you were outside the box and you still get away with it. But I'm thinking, but he had the best game of his life. Henderson.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Henderson was very, very lucky to stay on the pitch. But even when he did incredibly well. Obviously, saving the penalty, making key saves throughout the game, and winning the Palace a trophy. So all credit to him. I do have to say though, it was a red card, regardless of what you think about it.
I don't think it was.
It was a handball outside the box from the keeper. usually in another game that's given. I mean, you look back to 2021 when it happened to Leno against Wolves, that was given. Same with Nick Pope against Liverpool, Alisson a few years ago. I personally think it was a case.
They're saying that they've adapted the rules like in the last 2 years that basically said, I don't know, unless you've got an Arsenal badge, you're not sent off. But completely mocking.
That's Champions League final for you. That's what happened to Lehmann, didn't it? Happened to Lehmann.
But yeah, apparently, if the ball isn't heading towards the goal, then it's not a red card. But you know, I mean, I saw other occasions other than the Saliba one. And I don't think even the Saliba one, the ball was heading towards the goal. I saw other ones that weren't given as red cards when the ball was clearly heading towards goal. So I think it adds a grey area to it. I don't think it's quite as clear cut as it looked. But saying that though, what did you think of the Martinez one this weekend? Did you see it?
Yeah, that was definitely a red card. Like, he's gone straight for him. Like, he should have realised it was Højlund running at him. I think he should have realised that it was Højlund running at him. Højlund was never going to score. Like, he could have just left it.
He should have literally just gone, oh, it's him. I just back off and
back off. Yeah,
just goes over there and go tier 2 or something.
What I found more disgusting as well, how the Aston Villa goal was choked off. That was so horrible as well.
Yeah, again, I don't think that should have been chalked off.
Yeah, I think that should have been a goal. No. He didn't have didn't have complete hold of the ball. It was kind of bobbling around his hands. He didn't have clear contacts.
Well, he put his hands on it and then let him go. So it was like you give him free rein. So it was like he didn't want to do a double dribble like in basketball or something. It was a bit weird.
Yeah, 5 seconds time.
Yeah, I can completely understand why Emery was so incensed. I mean, not only that decision, but you had the obviously the Martinez red card. You had the penalty decision as well. Like, he just kind of walked away from the touchline and was just like, fuck this, I'm off.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it wasn't on the referee that they left it to the last game, so you know they could have done better, kind of in the run up to games. But I guess that they were kind of resting for Champions League like we were. So you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of what happens, isn't it? But Ashley put another message in here. Said, does anyone know what all these Zubimendi rumours are about? Madrid, or he's coming to Arsenal? I still think he's coming to Arsenal, mate. I don't think that anything's changed. I think because he's Basque anyway, I think it's very unlikely he goes to Real Madrid. If he was going to Barcelona, it would be a bit more of a concern for me, I think. But yeah, going from Sociedad to Real Madrid, I don't think they will even want that, to be honest.
Be a Luis Figo moment, no?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things out there that they're just not overly keen on, and that's one of them. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, if you had to, your ideal transfer window, who are you picking? We'll just go with realistic though, not I've seen other videos that basically they're spending 450 million quid.
I was hearing that we've got 150 million to spend, and that's before player sales.
Yeah, well, that's why I said realistic, because obviously it's I still think that some players will go off the book. Even Jorginho leaving adds to the transfer budget, right? Because it puts 110 grand a week back in the transfer kitty. So at least with that, and the other news is apparently that parties close to agreeing terms on a flexible pay deal, whatever that means. I guess we'll wait and see. So,
Can I just interrupt? I just saw
Sorry.
the last 2 hours from the Athletic and the Now Arsenal Twitter page is saying we made apparently 177.8 million in the prize money during this campaign.
for the Premier League.
Yes, I believe so. That's what we're saying. Yeah,
just for the Premier League. Yeah,
it's not a bad return.
Would have been a lot better if we were top, though.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you think we've got the best squad though?
I wouldn't necessarily say we've got the best squad. I definitely think we've got a lot of players that we've got in our current squad that would make it into many of the teams in the Premier League. I feel like we are obviously when it comes to having the best squad, not only if you need to have like a set starting 11, you also need to have a lot of depth. And I feel like that's the one thing that we're going to need if we are going to mount a serious charge. We need to have depth. Obviously, we've seen the problems this season without a striker. I think providing we add to the depth, we could go on to have the best squad. I don't think we're as far away as a lot of people like to say, but we're not exactly where we want to be just yet.
No, I agree with that. We need a couple of world-class players for me. That's tip us over the edge. But
a statement signing.
Sorry.
I'm saying a statement signing.
A marquee signing. I thought we needed a marquee signing last season, let alone this, to be honest. But there we go.
Well, it starts now then. It starts now. No more excuses in my eyes.
Exactly.
I'm sorry if I sound fed up because I'm being truthful without sounding having a rant in everyone, but basically enough is enough now.
Yeah.
You know? Show your cards right. Don't fuck about.
Exactly.
Simple.
Exactly. So in your dream window, realistic targets, who are you getting?
I'll say it now. I'll say I'm in my little queue of things. I'll say Gyokores definitely. I want to prove him once we discuss together. I do want a strong, possibly left-sided, I guess, winger who does something bit in the same level as Martinelli. Provided a bit better would be great.
If Rodrygo's not available, who you put in there?
That's a very good question, actually. Anyone who can prove to justify why they want to play for the club. You know, someone will give Martinelli a run. I can't think who on top of my head, honestly. I mean,
okay. I
guess midfield. So maybe 3 or 4 players. So yeah, midfield. I don't know who. Well, Zubimendi midfield would be great, and then defender would be great to have someone on board as well, just an extra one, possibly. Any position. I'm not too fussed.
I think it's also clear and obvious that we're going to need a backup goalkeeper next season.
That as well.
It's obviously clear that we're not gonna sign Neto on a permanent deal. Not that we wanted to anyway. I think he was awful. He played one game and gave away a goal.
Garcia is in talks as well with Man City, so I don't know if that's going to happen. Apparently, I think Newcastle were in for him as well. So I think there was a few links to him. But obviously there's nothing sealed there yet. But yeah, he's been kind of touted around all over the place by the looks of it.
I think if you can't go and get Garcia, I'd probably say have a look at Kelleher, because obviously Kelleher's going to want to be out the door at Liverpool. I think he's a quality goalkeeper, provides a lot, and can kind of take the pressure off of David Breyer a bit. I definitely think we need another left back. As to who we get in that position, I do not know. I would probably, my first choice if I was to go out and get someone would probably be Gyokores from Bournemouth. I think he's a quality left back and has shown how good he's been this season. Midfield, I'd probably just say Zubimendi, just to shore that up. And then obviously the main man up front has got to be Gyokores, as far as I'm concerned, as my main target. Get him done as soon as possible. Sporting are willing to let him go for 60 million. I don't think you're going to get a bargain better than that. And out wide, if you can't go and get Rodrygo, go and get me either Nico Williams or Lookman.
I like those two.
Yeah, I mean, my kind of only kind of concern there is the right centre back position, because obviously we've got Timber and White, who can kind of deputise in the centre back. But obviously, if one of them is injured, then you've only got a right back or a centre back. You haven't got both. So I think that we either need to get another centre back in that role. We need to either earmark that for Kivior, even though it's the wrong side for him, really. But yeah, I think otherwise, I agree with you completely. That Gyokores, definitely a left wing. I would even say that either we cash in on Vieira and bring in a replacement for him as well. But that depends on how he's going to utilise Ranieri and Havertz and Odegaard.
I think with Havertz, I'd probably say I don't think from next season onwards, if you go out and get Gyokores, I don't think you use Havertz as your main striker. I think you use him as a backup to come on with 15, 20 minutes to go when we're like 3-4-0 up, just the stat pad. So I think that's the only way I'd probably keep Havertz or move him to the number 10.
Do you think on long term, if we get like the Gyokores, that he sticks with that kind of profile from Havertz? Do you think Havertz gets sold and we get somebody more like a Jesus, that kind of build-up kind of player rather than an actual striker, or is Havertz that already?
I mean, it's difficult to tell with Kai Havertz because you don't necessarily know what he is. I mean, I don't even think he knows what his best position is. I mean, we've heard that he's a number 10. We've heard that he plays up front, but he's not really that type of player who will go and get you 20,
Can we say that he hasn't necessarily had the right player up top to do that with, though?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah.
So if he doesn't work with like a Gyokores or somebody similar to that, then obviously you can have that. Oh, he doesn't feed the striker, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do whatever. But I see a lot of moments where he's actually holding up the play for somebody else to get in to make that run.
I guess then we need to play him in a like a shielded behind the main striker sort of role. As I said the other
like a shadow striker, yeah.
Yes, like behind the main striker who does
but like an old-fashioned centre forward.
Pretty much, yes. That's what I was about to allude to. Pretty much like how back in the day we used to have like say Berkham will do all the nitty gritty. Pretty much he was like a strong man in his own way, Berkham, and only would do all the flashes of brilliance of getting there to the end. So we need someone who does the finishing product. And I think Havertz got that physicality, that now understanding of the league. Hopefully, they can just distribute a bit more from midfield, and to straight to the attacker. And this season has shown that clearly we lack that, sadly. But hopefully, the board will see that. Hopefully, they'll see that, and the manager included as well.
But that's what I see that's missing from Havertz's game as such. And I don't think it's Havertz's fault.
No.
He was brought in to do a job, and then he's kind of been mixed and matched all over the place.
Also, 9 goals returned for him. It's not his fault, but 9 goals not good enough for our club. 9 goals, a top scorer, that's not good enough at all.
Yeah, but he's not a striker. He shouldn't.
I hear that. Come on, I hear that.
He shouldn't be
overall.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Well, it's going to be kind of an interesting time for us. Obviously, June the 1st, it opens for this first stint for, is it for 2 weeks?
Yeah, for that World Cup business.
Yeah, and then it closes for 2 weeks and then it opens again.
Wait.
Which is, again, I guess why all the kind of meetings are happening now is because they want to get it done in that first stint so that nobody else can be talking in the background during the break of the other stint, I suppose. But Yes, it's going to be definitely going to be interesting time for us. But,
Touch wood.
yeah. Yeah, touch wood. Yeah, otherwise we're sat here holding nothing. And
I don't want to quote Ruben Amorim. He said, "Good times are coming."
no,
but I hope for
don't
us
quote you,
great
Ruben
things.
Amorim. No, don't
I
quote
hope
you.
for us better
No,
things.
no,
are
no,
coming.
no, no,
I hope us.
no. I'm not
Alfie,
even
you
going to
know
let
how
you.
we
Ruben
lose.
I'm
Scammery.
not even going to let you.
Alfie
No,
can see the
no,
back
not
of
happening.
my head what I was about to say
Not
there.
happening. Not happening. I'm not shutting up until you shut up.
I knew something would click your head to say, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, I knew exactly what you were talking about. I just didn't want you to say it. So
Ruben
I
I'm not-
didn't
Scammery.
quite say it. I
yeah,
didn't quite say it, did
yeah.
I?
No, you didn't. But that was only because
Almost did send all the gory details. Anyway, thank you, Kieran Tierney. Thank you, Jorginho. Me, I'm
yeah,
out.
thank
Bye.
you, Kieran Tierney. Thank you, Jorginho. Who else we got? Zinchenko, if you go in. Who else is leaving?
Oof,
Tommy Asu, surely.
Tomiyasu's not fit, so he won't be leaving because they can't buy it. Get anyone
Yeah,
to buy
true.
him. Jesus, I guess, is the same. Party.
Sterling can bugger off.
Who's that?
So I said Sterling can bugger off.
Yeah, well, Sterling. Yeah, Chelsea's problem now. Have it back. We saved you 100 grand a week. But yeah, you can have the problem now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, bye for that. And Neto can go by as well. Yeah, because yeah, was it Girona where he tried to get himself?
Yeah.
Well, I remember just seeing this. I was like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing there?"
I still can't believe that he tried to save that.
Bit rusty, probably. A bit rusty. That's just
just like ridiculous. Anyway. Guys, if you're still in here, please make sure you're liking, subscribing, and putting any comments in the video. Appreciate you all being around. Hope to see you next time. Turn the bell notification on as well, and then you'll see when we go live next. But yeah, in the meantime, Bez, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much as well.
See you next time. And Alfie, thanks for joining as well, my friend.
Not a problem, man.
Nice. And yeah, until the next time, I've been Sparks. This is Footy Corner. We'll see you later.